everyone, this is Lindy from Love Create Celebrate. Welcome back to our channel where we share all of our DIY and home renovation videos. Today is the Dollar Store DIY Challenge Fall Edition. We've had a ton of renovation tutorials on the channel lately. We still have some more exterior stuff going on, but I needed to take a break from that. And I was having an urge to get crafty. So I did some dollar store DIYs over the past couple weeks, and I'm gonna share them with you today. If you guys haven't been following along for a while, then you know that I love turning ugly, cheap dollar store stuff into beautiful decor. And today I made some fall decorations and some things for a fall or Thanksgiving tablescape. And I really love how they all turned out. I probably say that every time I do a dollar store video, but this is one of my favorite challenges. If you're not following Colleen Pasteur, she is my co-host for this dollar store challenge. She has a beautiful home and beautifully creative dollar store projects. So make sure to check out her video at the end of this one. If you are new to the Dollar Store Challenge, we do them every season, and Colleen and I invite you guys to join with us and join the playlist and share some of your Dollar Store DIYs, creations, or just how you're decorating with Dollar Store supplies. I am super excited to see what you guys have made. Now let me show you what I've made. I am going to start off by showing you a couple of simple decor projects I made, and then I'm going to jump into the Tablescape projects. So the first one I'm going to do involves these wooden cups from the Dollar Tree. I've used them before and I loved them, so I'm going to use them again. For this project, I needed to start by cutting a small piece off the bottom of the cup. Most miter saws have a gap at the back on either side of the blade, so I attached some board to the front of the miter saw. You have screw holes at the back that you can screw it into, and there's a little slot that we cut where the blade will go, so now I can cut smaller pieces as long as I keep my hands out of that dangerous yellow area. My plan was to make some tall wooden pillar candlesticks, so I wanted to cut a small piece off the back of these wooden cups that would act as the plate on the top of the candlestick for it to sit on. Once I had a few of those cut, I sanded them and then brought them inside to plan and assemble my candlesticks. Using my favorite craft glue that works super well and does not burn your fingers, I attached a couple of the cups together, stacking them on top of one another. If you're going to stain these after like I did, you really have to make sure there's no glue seeping out the sides because it will not take the stain. I decided to make 3 different sized pillars. So for one of the pillars I used 3 wooden cups, for one of them I used 2, and for the other one I used a single cup, and I put the little cut bottom cup pieces on top of each pillar to hold the candles. In the end, I decided not to stain them and to just spray them with a clear coat to protect the candlesticks from any dripping wax. I love adding in wood tones in my fall decor, and I love adding candles, so really this is the perfect DIY for this season. I think they look amazing all together or on their own individually. Just really happy with how these came out. My other fall decor piece involves these simple toques that I found at my local Dollarama. I actually bought 3 of them, and then I found some felt in some nice fall colors and bought 1 sheet of each of those at the Dollar Tree. You guys know I love Nordic and Scandinavian decor, and I wanted to bring some of that in for the fall, so I decided to make my own fall gnomes. And I started by cutting the pom-poms off of these hats. Then I started cutting felt for the gnome hats, and I found that this sort of quarter of a circle shape was the perfect size for the pom-poms that I had. Next, I put some of my favorite craft glue along one of the straight edges of the felt piece, and then I rolled the felt piece into itself so that the 2 straight edges lined up and were glued together. Then I filled the hats with some stuffing I had on hand in my own craft stash, put glue all along the bottom, and stuck it on top of my pom-poms. The final step was to add a little nose. These wooden beads are also from the dollar store. I just put some of my craft glue on them and stuck them on the pom-pom just under the hat. The end result is so cute. I love these little guys. I don't know what it is about gnomes, but to me it's just the perfect little touch of fall, little decor piece for these shelves, and I just love how they turned out. Okay, let's get into the Tablescape DIYs now. There are a couple DIYs here. They're all super easy, I promise. And the first has to do with these chargers. I'm not a huge fan of these chargers. I don't really like the pattern and I feel like they look really cheap being all plasticky. So I decided to try out that viral baking soda and paint technique for the first time. I am using a creamy white paint color, mixing it with baking soda. I ended up doing about half and half baking soda to paint, a 1-to-1 ratio. And once I had the consistency I liked, I started painting those dollar store chargers. After the first coat, I was really happy with the texture that it created. I love the baking soda paint mixture for that reason, but it definitely needed a second coat. You could definitely see through the paint, so I got to work doing a second coat. I also didn't love all of the brush marks and lines that I was seeing on my charger, so I also pulled out a foam brush from my craft stash and just went around all of the edges, kind of smoothing out any of those brush stroke marks. If water drips on these plates and reacts with the baking soda in it, it's definitely going to bubble and ruin the look we just created. So you do want to clear coat things, and I'm using that same spray-on clear coat that I used earlier to protect these chargers. Then, since we were already in this baking soda paint mode, I decided to paint a couple dollar store vases too. These glass vases I've had in my craft stash for quite a while, and I did the exact same process except I mixed a black acrylic paint with the baking soda, and again it did 2 coats. Since I'm using a black plate over top of those chargers I just painted, I thought adding some more black onto the tablescape would help balance everything out. So I'm painting these vases as part of the centerpiece in my Thanksgiving tablescape. Because I loved that candle holder idea that I did earlier so much, I decided to make another version for my tablescape, but this time I wanted to add a different texture using some wooden dowels that I also picked up at the dollar store. I measured the length I needed to cover the cup and the little holder for the candle at the top, and then I added a block to my table saw at the exact distance I wanted to cut so that I could just slide the dowels in and cut them without having to measure each time. I continued cutting until I had 28 of those little dowels to go around my entire candle. When it came time to stick them on, I used the same glue because it works great on wood too. I started by gluing one dowel in place and giving it 5 minutes to set. I made sure that it was nice and level and made sure that it was set before I started gluing all of the other pieces on. And guys, I got really lucky with this one because when the final dowel went on, it literally was the exact right size to cover that wooden cup. And this time I had to be really careful with the glue as I was applying it because I was staining the piece and any glue won't let the stain show or stick properly. When I was staining, I used American walnut and was really careful to get inside of all of the cracks as I went. The last dollar store addition to my Thanksgiving tablescape is these little wooden leaves. I found these in the craft section and I knew they would be perfect for the table, but I didn't want to introduce another color tone, so I decided to paint them with the same color that I used for the chargers to tie it all together and make these really simple minimalist napkin rings. As you'll see in a sec, I just tied them on with dollar store string. And here is how our simple, minimalist Thanksgiving tablescape came together. I used some matte black plates that I already had, and the texture in the chargers underneath just complements them so well. Then I added some pattern in the napkins and put that little minimalist napkin tie on top to really bring the place setting all together. And then I took those last two DIYs and turned them into a nice cozy centerpiece full of texture. I just plopped a simple pillar candle on top and some fall stems inside, and it finished the vibe I was going for. I also love that I could use these anywhere in my decor, even when it's not in a table setting. What do you guys think of our fall decor? Such simple projects, super affordable. That whole tablescape had, I think, 4 dollar store DIYs on it, and it really pulled everything together and looked amazing in the end. And I'm definitely going to be using that tablescape again because I was really happy with how it looked. If you guys want to join another dollar store DIY challenge, the next video is on November 13th. It is holiday themed, so share any of your holiday decor or holiday dollar store DIYs. If you want to join the playlist, all of the info is in the description box below. And don't forget to check out the playlist for this video and see some more dollar store inspiration. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Let me know which of the dollar store projects was your favorite. And as always, hit the bell so that you don't miss out on future DIY and home renovation videos. Thanks for watching.